Hello, so this video is 10 days in a mental hospital. I just thought it would be interesting to include something. I haven't watched it before, so I guess this is my first time. So let's see.
I want to make YouTube videos. The thing is, I want to make these videos because I really believe in them, but it's scary for me. So last year, some of you guys know that I struggled a lot with depression, and I kind of was off and on. I made a video about it and you can watch it, but towards the end of the year it got a lot worse, and we came to the States for a wedding. Our friends were getting married and Sean was doing the wedding and Eloise was the flower girl, and it was a really great time, but I could feel that I was getting worse, that my depression was getting worse, and at that point I felt like I had done everything I could do to feel better and it just wasn't working. And both of my parents have struggled with depression, my mom's family a lot, and then my dad's family too, and there's been suicide in my family, and I was raised by two moms, you know, my mom's a lesbian, and so even my other mom has struggled with depression too. And so when I started to open up with my family more about how bad I was doing, people were concerned for me, and so I went to the doctor and I asked if
I just want to say here that it's great that her family was supportive. There are some that aren't. Like, my family doesn't understand mental illness. They think everything can be fixed with a pill, which isn't the case. Sometimes meds can help people, but it's usually a combination between meds and therapy that can help them. But so for anyone who actually has family members who aren't as supportive, please don't hesitate to reach out, talk to your doctor. Sometimes the doctor can be that empathetic ear if you don't have anyone.
to be put on an antidepressant, and it didn't really work. I felt like maybe it was working in the beginning. I had hope it would work. Just so you know, I've been on one before, like back when I was 18, I was on one for a while, and then I felt better, and so I wasn't on it anymore. But it's not something I wanted to be on. I think I waited a long time before kind of admitting to myself that this might be a problem beyond just my own ability to feel happy in a moment. So I went to the doctor, asked if I could be on this medicine. She put me on one that she said is good. Basically, she was great. And in the beginning it felt like it was working a bit, but then it wasn't. And I guess one of the risks with antidepressants is that they can make you feel suicidal, which is a crazy thing when you already feel suicidal. But that's what happened for me. And so we were in the States here. So we live in Spain, for those of you who might be new to my channel. And we were in the States and decided to spend Christmas here to make sure I could be healthy, because it didn't feel right to go back to Spain with me being kind of the way I was. And yeah, it was a good decision. My mood got worse. My kind of inner darkness that I was experiencing got darker and heavier. And sorry. I'm really nervous about these videos, but I like you guys and I want you to know this stuff. And anyway, it got worse basically, and it got to a point where I knew that I wanted to die, and like I knew that I couldn't live this low and like pretend I was okay. And I was really scared for Eloise, that eventually she'd grow up to learn that her smiley, happy mom was actually a really sad mom.
actually a similar concern I have with my daughter. I'm afraid that she's going to learn through other people that her mom's not who she thought, and like learn about my depression and the things that have gone on in my life. And I know I've never talked about it before, but I don't have custody for my daughter. I wanted to do what was best for her, so my mother has custody, but I still see my daughter regularly, and she knows that I am her mom and Grammy is Grammy. But I worry because of what she might hear from my family members and what she might learn. And like, I've tried to turn my life around and be happy. I'm not always happy, but I worry that my daughter is going to learn that Mama's very sad and there's nothing she can do to help me, because usually when I'm sad she tries to cheer me up, but so I have to act in front of my daughter, and I hate having to do that. I'd like to have that conversation with her when she gets older, but right now she's 7. And the only thing I can do is try to help her deal with her emotions, because she has some emotional problems as well, which my family doesn't quite understand mental illness and stuff, so it's going to be a hard road. But I still think that, at the time, giving her to my mother and signing my rights over was the right choice, and I'm going to give her the choice when she gets older, and let her know that my door is always open to her. And that's what keeps me going, really, is my daughter. But I'm still not happy, and I really don't want her to see that. But anyway, back to her story.
I thought it would maybe be better for her to just not have one and to have her happy dad who's actually happy. He's great. So yeah, so I was pretty broken, and I knew it was broken, and I was still taking the medication. So it got to the point where I opened up to Sean and to our sister-in-law, who's a doctor, and told her how bad I was doing, and told her that I had plans, that I knew how I would do it if I actually had the courage to do it. And that was kind of the end. That was when we knew this isn't okay, and I'm not going to be okay just trying to live like this. And so at that point, Sean and I drove to a place in Detroit where they'll do assessments on the spot, and they'll decide if you should be admitted as an inpatient to a mental hospital or if you should be a part of an outpatient program. And by the time I was going to the hospital, to this place that I was going to be getting assessed, I was really nervous, but at the same time kind of relieved that it was like finally I could get help. And what I had said to Sean was like, I feel so broken on the inside, but nobody can see it, and I felt like I wished I was bleeding, or I wish I had cancer or something, so that people would know like, whoa, something's really wrong. But the state I was in was one where it was just inside of me and nobody else could see it, so that people would know how serious it was, because it felt like nobody quite got it, or like everybody was really optimistic, like just pray harder, it'll go away, or like exercise, or are you journaling, maybe you need time for yourself, and like all of this stuff is really helpful. But I felt like I was actually sick, like something was really wrong with me. And so to go to this place, I already was like feeling hopeful, even though there wasn't a solution yet. So I went to this place, did my assessment, and they decided that I didn't need to be an inpatient because I wasn't going to do anything harmful that night. Basically, I assured them I wasn't, and so then they agreed to that. And so the next morning, I started this outpatient program at what we all call a mental hospital, but it was more like it didn't feel like a hospital. It was like in the same parking center as a Starbucks and other nice things. It's a facility that you go to, and everybody who's there is a mental health patient. So I don't know. So I call it a mental hospital. And yeah, I guess that's what it was. And it was primarily group therapy every day, and you're in there for 7 to 10 days. I was in there for 10, and the people who are in there are kind of going through all kinds of things, but generally the things we had in common is depression and anxiety. But something I loved about it was all like a group of people that we would probably never have naturally hung out with each other, but because we all were broken, we got to come together and hang out and get to know each other's stories. And there were people there who had far more broken experiences than I did, and I felt like the perspective really helped me, and being in there and relating to each other and listening to each other and encouraging each other. And we were led by a counselor, and you're like going through a workbook, but the way they do it is pretty fluid, where like you might one day really stick to the workbook, but then another day someone will bring up a topic and you kind of don't even acknowledge the workbook because you're moving through whatever got brought up. So it's a pretty relaxed program. But I did that for 10 days, and then all throughout the 10 days I was meeting with doctors, and they were doing blood tests and checking things out, because also I was having crazy health problems, throwing up randomly, passing out. If you guys saw Carly Chrisman's episode of Say Yes to the Dress, it's episode 1 of the current season. It's a great episode, but I passed out during her wedding, and that was actually like a health scare. Something was wrong with me, and I was fine there, it was okay, but this all was like a part of this stuff I'm describing. And so yeah, so I was meeting with a bunch of doctors. They gave me a diagnosis that I will make another video about because I'm not ready yet for that one, but I was put on a medicine that started working really quickly, and I decided to take a break from social media just so I could have like space to kind of process what was happening, and to be able to get healthy. And the whole time it was so great. We were with Sean's family, and they're just the most amazing people. They love Eloise, so she was in heaven. So some of you guys wrote and were like, poor Eloise, that her mom is like, you know, whatever. But just so you know, she was so happy. She really didn't even know what was going on, which was so cool. But she was really, really, really happy, and didn't I mean, one day I got home and I had been away from her all day, and she didn't even want to come to me. She said that she didn't miss me. Don't be offended, she's 2.5, so that's, you know, whatever. But that actually made me really happy, because she was fine. She was so good. And Sean was great. He was really attentive, and he drove me to the place every morning and picked me up every afternoon and spoke with the doctors and just was really present for the whole process. And so it was really cool. Yeah, now I'm here, and I'm here again to make YouTube videos. I guess one of the things that I've been going through just in this break is realizing that I don't want to do social media in a way where it's like a commercial, where like I'm advertising a life that isn't actually my life. And it's not to say that that's what I was doing, but I just feel like maybe sometimes social media becomes a bit like that, where we're all like portraying our best selves, which is okay, that's what that is, but it can sometimes feel like cheap, and it can leave us feeling like maybe something's wrong with us because everybody else is doing great and we're not doing so great. And so my, I guess, commitment to you guys is, in doing this social media, I want to show you my real life, and I will do my best to be excellent in my quality of stuff, and be genuine, and also maintain some level of privacy. I think that that's healthy for families, is that we don't share everything, but I do want to share real things with you in hopes that I can encourage you. And that's all, I guess. That's all I have for this video. We're already working on the next 2 videos, which are going to be so fun. The next one's with Eloise, and it's just showing you how she is now that she's 2.5. It's so cute and talkative. And I'm going to be back on Instagram by the time you see this video, and I think I'll be back in Spain. I'm currently in LA filming it from our home here that we live in, but I'm going back to Spain on Monday for the year is the plan. So I'll be making more videos from there. Anyway, I love you guys, and I'm really thankful to be a part of your life, and I'm thankful that you're following me and that you're sharing my stuff even while I've been gone. I see that you guys have been doing that, and I'm really grateful. And thank you for all the messages. So many people wrote me messages checking in on me and telling me that you missed me, and it was really important. I'm really thankful. So okay, that's all. That's the update, and I love you, and I hope you have a really good day, and follow us on Instagram. Sean's reality show is still going on Snapchat, so if you're on Snapchat, go watch, and I will see you next week with a new video. Okay, thank you so much. Bye!
Listening to her story got me a little bit emotional because I've heard many like it, and just seeing her emotions. And anyway, I hope you guys enjoy. Thanks for watching.